and his team, in particular Secretary Segura, on this investment. Like you, President Trump, they are deal makers that move at the speed of business. And it's very important for us company to be able to work with people who understand who we are and move very fast. Our new facility will be a great example of Virginia supporting domestic production of medicines for America, enhancing national security in pharmaceutical supply, but also creates thousands of highly skilled jobs. Governor Youngkin gave me a beautiful Virginia flag that we will proudly fly alongside the American flag in front of our new facility. So AstraZeneca's commitment to the United States is very strong, and this agreement ensures we'll make an even bigger difference for American patients. So, Mr. President, thank you again for welcoming me in this beautiful office and for making this moment possible. Thank you so much.
Pascal. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Glenn.
Amazing.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for celebrating this landmark moment. This landmark moment is not just a moment to announce a new way to buy less expensive life-saving medicine, but it is a step function change in the way that Virginians and Americans can access medicines. And it is a step function change because historically there was an opaque pricing mechanism that had so many people standing between the manufacturers and the patients that no one knew really what it cost. Well, now we can go direct to consumers. And that's what Trump RX is all about, going direct to consumers, where a consumer can come and find that particular medication that they need and go direct to the company and get the best possible price. Second of all, the most favored nation clause is a groundbreaking moment. It's a groundbreaking moment because, as you've heard, that American customers have been paying 3, 4, 5 times what international customers have been paying. That is just not fair. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for simply recognizing that America must come first, and Americans deserve the best pricing, not the worst. It changes everything for a state. In Virginia, we have $1.5 billion a year of pharmaceutical expenditure under our Medicaid plan. $1.5 billion a year. We save 10%, 20%, 30%. All of a sudden, 150, 300 million, 450 million in savings can be realized by a state. Now, I firmly believe that's the people's money, and it should go back in tax relief. But think about the change that that enables for a state as they manage their healthcare expenditures. Finally, Mr. President, you have driven a reshoring of critical supply chains that no one thought could happen. The industries that everyone thought were lost are now coming home, and with pharmaceutical manufacturing and active pharmaceutical ingredients particularly coming back to America, it changes everything. It's an economic moment for us. Yes, $4.5 billion into the Virginia economy, and that will in fact translate into $3 or $4 of extra economic impact for every dollar that is spent, 3,600 great paying jobs. But it's even more than that. This is a national security moment. And what you've just heard is one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in the world is choosing America, and yes, Virginia, to invest nearly $5 billion to build the most critical manufacturing for the future of America's health. That's not just a single example. It's happening all over. And in fact, in Virginia, Mr. President, we've been blessed with nearly $10 billion of commitments to build new pharmaceutical manufacturing in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And therefore, I believe this is a moment to celebrate investment, but more importantly, to celebrate breakthroughs for American citizens to get access to life-saving medicines at costs that they deserve, because they're all made here. Mr. President, you and your cabinet have been amazing. As a governor, I have found that the cooperation with every one of your cabinet members, and sir, yes, you, has been beyond compare that I could ever imagine. I want to thank you for helping us make Virginia great again, too. Thank you.
So we have, at this moment, I think we just cracked $18 trillion in commitments and investments in our country. As an example, the last administration was far less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're at plus $18 trillion for 8 months. There's never been anything like it in history, in any country, anywhere in the world. So that's great. But maybe for purposes of this, more importantly, we're going to bring drug prices down at numbers that nobody ever thought possible, Glenn. I think nobody ever even thought it was possible. So we're going to be doing a lot of business, but we're going to be also numbers that when you're 2, 3, 4, 500% less. I just noticed one of them over here, 654% discount. 654. The laggard is 98%, right? 9 is that what? Wow, 96, 230%, but 654, and we have some that top that by a lot. So it's really going to be incredible, and that's going to be so good for Medicaid and Medicare and everything. Frankly, for your life, it's going to be so good. So nobody ever thought they were going to see. And don't let Democrats take the credit, because, you know, they'll try. They'll say, oh, we worked so hard, and they didn't work hard. They did. They obstructed. They actually did the opposite. So that's really more important than even the tremendous investments being made in our country. But think of it, we cracked 18 trillion with a T, $trillion. And frankly, 1 trillion for 4 years wasn't that bad. He did less than $1 trillion. But we did that in a period of 8 months, so it's pretty record-shattering by many trillions of dollars. Any country, no matter what country you're talking about, nobody's done numbers like that. So thank you all for being here. Do you want to have a couple of questions? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, one on this, if I could, and one on China, if I may.
Okay.
First on this, could you have brought these pharmaceutical companies to the table without that 100% tariff that you imposed?
Well, it's not 100%. You're talking about China might be 100%.
No, I'm talking about the 100% you imposed on pharmaceuticals for that sector.
I would never have been able to bring them. Now, I'm not sure that Pascal would like to say, but behind the scenes he did say tariffs were a big reason he came here, and also the fact he loved Virginia. He liked this guy. He liked me. I think the November 5th election was a very important date. We had a good election, and that was important. But yeah, he's here. A lot of. I can speak for almost everybody that's here. Most of them are here because of tariffs, because you have to understand he has no tariffs. If you build in this country, there are no tariffs. So.
Let me ask you about China, if I could. Just want to confirm: have you canceled your meeting with President Xi? And
no, I haven't canceled, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But you know, they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do, and it was shocking. I can tell you, Howard and I and Todd, we all Scott, we were all speaking about it before. And we said, where did that come from? It was just, that was out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, they came up with this whole import-export concept, and nobody knew anything about it. So.
If they roll back their export controls, the new announcement, would you roll
yeah,
back?
Look, we're going to have to see what happens. That's why I made it November 1st. We'll see what happens, yeah.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, please.
What else besides software could be on the table in terms of export controls?
A lot more. I mean, you have software, but you have a lot more. We have airplanes. We have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. And we were just surprised at China. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have many things, including a big thing is airplane. They have a lot of Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that. Steve?
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept the Gaza deal, and what will be your message to the Knesset when you speak to them?
Well, he wanted it. It's been a long time. He's been fighting a long time. He's been fighting hard. He wanted it. It's a great deal for Israel, but it's a great deal for everybody, for Arabs, for Muslims, for everybody, for the world. And as you know, on Monday the hostages come back. They're getting them now. I mean, they're getting them now. They're in some pretty rough places under earth. They're in some pretty rough places where only a few people know where they are. some cases. So they're getting them, and they're also getting the bodies, approximately 28 bodies. And some of those bodies are being unearthed right now as we speak. I mean, they're working on it right now as we speak. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. No, he was very happy with it. And I can tell you that I saw Israel dancing in the streets, but they were dancing in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE and many, many countries. I saw Egypt. They were dancing. I'll be going to Israel. I'll be speaking at the Knesset, I think, early on. And then I'm also going to Egypt. They were terrific. But all of the countries were great. Indonesia was great. Jordan was great. They were all great. Everybody wants this deal to happen.
What happens in Gaza the day after the hostage release?
Day after what?
The day after the hostage release, what happens there then?
Well, hopefully you're going to have great success for, I call it everlasting success. I think you will too. I think you're going to have tremendous success, and Gaza is going to be rebuilt. And you have some very wealthy countries, as you know, over there, and it would take a small fraction of their wealth to do that. But and I think they want to do it. And we're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace. I don't know if that's the final name, but the word peace is definitely in there. They have asked me if I chair it. We'll make sure things go well.
And how confident are you that the ceasefire will hold?
I think it'll hold, yeah. I think it'll hold. They're all tired of the fighting. Don't forget, you had October 7th, which was a horrible day, 1,200 people killed. But Hamas has lost 58,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution. People understand that. So, no, I think they're all tired of fighting. And this really gives the whole Middle East, this is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it is a beautiful thing. You know, it's a term that you and I have been hearing since we were very young, right? And now we have a chance of really having that. And as you know, most of the countries have passed all these resolutions. Every country is there. Iran came in. I was very happy to see that. I was very honored that Iran came in. They said they support it. Russia came in. President Putin, he supports it fully, very fully. So I was happy to see even countries that weren't necessarily involved in the process, they all support it. I don't know of anybody that does it. And I've never seen happier people than many of these places, not just Israel. Many of these places, they're all dancing in the streets. I've never seen anything like it.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, please, in the back.
Thank you. What guarantee did you give Hamas to persuade them that Israel will restart the bombing campaign once the hostages have been exchanged?
What did I do with respect to them? Well, you know, I spoke a little bit tough, and that's what would happen. I mean, you have to speak tough. That's a tough world. That's a tough, as they say, neighborhood. And they're tough people. They're very tough people, and they're smart people. They're good negotiators. They have a lot of things going. They put that to good use. They're going to be very, very successful. But they knew the retribution would be tremendous, unsustainable. It would have been unsustainable. It would have been complete obliteration, and they didn't want that. And nobody wants it at this point. They want to get on with rebuilding the entire Middle East. It's not only Gaza. It's going to be the entire Middle East. They're going to be able to live in peace. Now, we have some little hot spots, but they're very small. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're very small. They'll be very easy to put out. Those fires are going to be put out very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Talking about the Middle East still, going to the phases that come after this first phase, is there a consensus on the additional points in your plan, or are the details still being fine-tuned?
I think there is consensus on most of it, and some of the details, like anything else, will be worked out, because you'll find out that when you're sitting in a beautiful room in Egypt, it's easy to work something out, but then sometimes it doesn't work from a practical standpoint. So certain little things, but for the most part, there's consensus, yes.
Do you intend to hash that out when you're in Egypt?
I might, yeah. I mean, I'll be there because I'll be going to, I'll go to Cairo. I think that's where we're going, as opposed to the place of the signing. And we have a lot of leaders from all over the world coming too. They've been invited. And then I'm coming back, I believe it's Tuesday night, for Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine, a friend of all of ours, a friend of a lot of the people right here. and we're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor you get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. One's military, one's civilian, but it's the greatest honor. And Eric, his beautiful wife, is going to be here, and a lot of people are going to be here. So, it's not easy for me to get back. It's a very quick trip, but I'll be making 2 major stops, and then I'll be on the plane trying to get back in time for Charlie. They're going to have a great celebration at the White House, in the East Room of the White House.
Mr. President? Russell Vogt said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it'll be Democrat-oriented, because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats. I mean, they want to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally. More important than that, because we all have a big heart. We want people to be taken care of, but we have 0 people coming in. You know that, Glenn, right? That's a pretty impressive number, even for a successful governor. But we've had, for the last 4 months, 0 people coming in illegally. They're coming in, but they're coming in legally. They're coming in through a process that's really a really good process right now, because we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. So what we're doing is, as these different groups come due, we're going to make a determination. Do we want them or not? And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted, that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired. Yes, please, behind.
The Nobel Peace Prize was announced this morning. Your thoughts?
Which one?
The Nobel Peace Prize. Your thoughts?
Look, including a very big one, and I'm not sure, when you say big, it's certainly, I think, to the mind of most, the most important deal ever made in terms of peace. But the one we just signed, it's been signed, sealed, and it's going to start taking place now. It's already started. Monday's going to be a very big day when the hostages come back. But I made 8 deals, transactions of wars. One was 31 years going on. 10 million people were killed. One was 34 years. One was 36, 37. One was 10. One was just starting. 2 were just starting, actually, but they were well on their way. In the case of India and Pakistan, 7 planes were shot down. It was a bad one. And I did it largely through trade. I mean, that one, numerous of them. I talked tariffs. I said, look, if you're going to do that, we're going to put very big tariffs on your country. And they were both great. They stopped fighting, and there were 2 nuclear powers. So, they're all big. They're every one of them big. You take a look at the Congo. You take a look at the Congo and Rwanda. 10 million people killed over a long period of time. Got that one solved. We did a total of 8 as of this. 2 days ago, I would have said 7, which I did say, but the other one was signed up, sealed. As you know, Israel signed it just now. They signed it and they approved it today, their parliament. And it's a great honor to be involved with so many. So the person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me, though. I think she might have. She was very nice. And I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but there are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I'm happy because I saved millions of lives, many millions of lives. And speaking of somebody that saves lives, don't ever play golf with him, because Keegan Bradley just walked in, one of the greatest golfers in the world, the captain of the Ryder Cup. And man, I'll tell you, you did a good job. You almost came back. I turned on, I said, I sort of turned off. It wasn't looking good. And then a little while later, I turned on. I said, you guys might make, that would have been the miracle. What a great job. He's respected by those golfers like nobody. And I just want to compliment you, Keegan. incredible job. Right here, we have a lot of unfriendly fake news media, and he's not used to that. He's used to getting only good publicity, I think, Howard. These are all golfers. But you're some golfer, I'll tell you that, and some leader. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you, Keith.
Mr. President, on China.
Yeah, please.
On immigration, ICE are making arrests, target arrests at courthouses in New York City and around the country.
Criminals, arresting criminals, that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
Reaction to that?
I'm happy about it. I want them to arrest criminals. And if you take a look at D.C., a year ago, D.C. was our great capital was a very unsafe place. You know that. Some of you were mugged, and talk openly about it. Some of the media was mugged. But right now, D.C. is one of the safest places in the whole country. The restaurants are booming. They're opening up new restaurants. The restaurants are all closing. Now you can't get into a restaurant. They're opening up new restaurants. It took 12 days for us. We sent in not politically correct military. We sent them in based on merit. You know, we won the case in the Supreme Court. Everything now is based on merit. Our country was founded on things based on merit. Like Keegan Bradley's not going to be playing golf if he wasn't a great player. If he shoots lower scores, there's no more merit system than that one, Keegan, right? If you miss a putt, they don't say, oh, that's okay, let's take it again, do they? No, it's based on merit. Everything's based on merit. And we're back to the merit system and quest to lower drug prices for all Americans. Prices have come way down. We've gotten prices way down for groceries, for oil especially. Today we broke $60 a barrel. We think the oil is going to be under $2 a gallon very soon. That's about 70% lower than what it was just a year ago. So that's a big thing. And when the oil comes down, everything comes down. It's pretty beautiful to watch. Astrazeneca, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturer in the United Kingdom, is committing to offer Americans major discounts on their vast catalog of prescription drugs, one of the great companies, by the way, and a most favored nation's pricing clause. So most favored nation is you're going to pay whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world is. That's what you're going to be paying. And I had it going very well in my first term, but we were interrupted by a rigged election, so I was unable to carry it forward. We started it, but this was something one of the reasons I wanted to run again was we had to have favored nations where the world is not going to be paying just a tiny fraction of what we were paying. I want to thank CEO Pascal Soriot, a very highly respected, one of the most respected men in business and certainly in the industry, for joining us today, as well as Secretary Howard Lutnick, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary, and Virginia Governor, a man who's done an incredible job. And good luck with the upcoming election. I know you're working very hard. I watch you. You're right there. He's out there working. He wants to see that young woman win, and the Attorney General, who I endorsed, et cetera, et cetera. Glenn Youngkin. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you for being here. For many years, Americans have paid the highest prices anywhere in the world for prescription drugs, by far, many times the amount that other countries are paying is ridiculous. Upon taking office, I signed an executive order to make sure that Americans pay no more for prescription medications than the lowest price or the same drug in other locations in developing nations. Today, AstraZeneca is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid at most favored nations prices. In other words, the lowest price anywhere in the world, that's what we get. A move that will save American taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars each year. And I tell the story, Glenn, that in my first term, I had the honor of being the first president in 28 years to lower drug prices during the course of the year. And we actually did, and I was so proud of myself. We called a news conference. I announced it. It was 1/8 of 1%. 1/8 of 1%. Now drug prices are going to be going down 100%, 400%, 600%, 1,000% in some cases. But for 1/8 of a cent, Bobby, think of that. I was so proud because for 28 years, nobody had done it. And now it's, I think back to that, I said I shouldn't have had that news conference, but it is true. I was the only one that did it, but it was not very much. And now we're going to get, in some cases, 1,000% reduction. This is going to have a huge impact on everything from Social Security to Medicare to Medicaid, anything where they're buying any prescription drugs. It's going to have an incredible impact. It's going to lower itself greatly. AstraZeneca will also list many of their most popular drugs online at TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx. I don't know why they put the name Trump. I did not tell them to do it, but I'm honored to let them do it. That's true, actually. That heavily reduced most favored nations cost. Americans can expect discounts, and as I said, it could be in many cases way over 100%. And as an example, one particular drug that's hot, very hot, 654% on inhalers, COPD and asthma, as well as certain diabetics medications. They're going to be averaging about 654% reduction in price. You believe that one? The Democrats will say, well, he should have gotten more. It's crazy. In addition, all medications AstraZeneca introduces to the American market going forward will also be sold at these heavily discounted rates. Furthermore, AstraZeneca will invest $50 billion in the United States over the next 5 years for research and development of new drugs and to onshore manufacturing facilities across the country, like the new plant that broke ground yesterday.